Hi, I'm Jen Gamuka. I'm going to talk to you about the research paper I decided to write for this class. I titled my research paper Twilight Birth, the Business of Giving Birth from 1914 to 1920. I wanted to examine how the procedure of a twilight sedated birth boosted the economy. It affected multiple avenues and created a supply and a demand for our economy that really illuminated a lot of things. The microeconomics of the early 20th century was really greatly affected by the professionalization of childbirth. Before the late 19th century, early 20th century, physicians were going into the homes of women who were giving birth. And it wasn't until the 20th century that birth really got moved into the hospital. Now, the practice of obstetricians didn't really come about as a specialty where they are trained in a hospital like we know today until the 1950s. However, physicians attended medical school. We were seeing a growth of female medical school, women's medical schools, particularly in Pennsylvania. We saw a couple of those. And those physicians were learning about obstetrics through kind of a mail-in medical training service. And when they were learning in the classroom, it wasn't on live women giving birth. It was on, they'd bring a skeletal pelvis in and a rag doll and simulate what birth was like. So you can imagine there were quite a bit of problems. There were a lot of tools being used that weren't necessary. And so when we got to the point where we could offer what they called, it was painless childbirth, which is laughable because twilight sedation, actually, you just don't remember the pain. And as that kind of sounds wonderful, having two children of my own, just waking up and having babies and you don't remember any of that pain. But it was incredibly dangerous, as you guys, I'm sure, are aware. We know now how dangerous this was. But in Europe is where twilight sedation was founded. And it was a couple prominent feminists who had gone to Europe and delivered their babies, came back to the United States and insisted that the United States should offer this service. And because of these prominent feminists, wealthier classed women, demanding the right to a more comfortable childbirth, that this procedure arrived. When the procedure arrived, upper class women demanded it in private hospitals. A typical childbirth where a doctor would come and deliver your baby cost about $25 in 1914. The cost of a twilight sedation was $85. So it was significantly more money for the procedure. And the demand made medical schools create a surplus of doctors. Medical schools saw this as an opportunity to get more qualified candidates into admissions. So they raised the admissions into medical school from having some college to having 2 years of college that was necessary. So we're seeing the growth of an undergraduate program, and then a growth of the medical school, and that encompasses all of the positions that we know are available in a college setting. We had more professors, we had more administration, we had more clerical jobs that were being put into that. So that boosted our economic growth through higher education. Additionally, the medical school started to train with hospitals. They wanted training hospitals like we see today. Before the 1914s, 1920s, that really was not how doctors were trained. They didn't go and receive training on the job in a hospital. So we are seeing a collaboration between higher education and training hospitals. Once again, that collaboration is going to cause economic growth. We need more teachers in the hospital. We need different clinical instructors, things of that nature. So the hospitals and the higher education are working together. And now we have this new procedure that's being demanded, and we have to get the pharmaceutical companies involved. Bayer helped create some of the medicines that we saw used in Twilight sedation. So Bayer exponentially grew during this time period because of the demand for this product. Now, some of the sources that I looked at and I found incredibly interesting, and I have listed below here. Stella Lear, she was a physician. She went and witnessed Twilight sedation births in both the private ward, where they were paying for it out of pocket, and then the lower class ward. Lower class ward, it wasn't going very well. It was free. They were trying to figure out how to do it on the cheap. So it was detrimental. Very inspiring article. And then I have one listed here by Henry Smith Williams, and he talks about the philanthropy that was necessary to bring lower class wards into this better system. I did see that there is economic growth based strictly off of this system and off of this procedure, because that demand for the procedure inspired the surplus of doctors that are going to be produced out of the hospitals. The hospitals are going to get bigger, and then our pharmaceutical companies got bigger as a result of it. So I hope you enjoyed my paper, and I am glad that I got to work with you this semester. Thank you.